Today we're starting a new series called Tutorial Fridays, where I'm going to be showing you guys new tutorials on anything filmmaking you could think, whether it's in editing, how to actually shoot your videos, anything you could think of that sort of nature. That's basically what this series is going to turn into. And for our first episode of the series is going to be masking. I'm going to show you guys how to make multiple versions of yourself. And this trick can work in any type of software you use to edit, whether it's CapCut, Adobe, DaVinci, Final Cut. Today we are going to be using Final Cut Pro because that's what I mainly use to edit all my videos. This can work inside, outside, it doesn't matter. You do want to keep in mind if you are shooting outside, the sunlight, because if the sunlight changes, it's going to be really hard to mash your two clips together. It'll make more sense when I show you guys, but if the lighting, it doesn't even necessarily have to be outside. If the lighting changes in general, it's going to be really hard to make your clips blend in together well. First, I'm going to go ahead and film the clips of myself, and then we're going to hop into Final Cut, and I'm going to show you guys how to do it. Okay, so this is basically my scenery that we're going to be using for today. I also didn't mention earlier, all you're going to need is a tripod. And you could actually, I've done this effect without a tripod. If you could just sit your camera or whatever you're filming, whether it's an iPhone, a DSLR, or even a cinema camera, if you could just prop it up on something that's not going to move, this effect will work. So all you're going to do, first thing you want to do is film a scene of your scenery by itself. Without you in the scene, you're going to want to film that just like this, how I'm showing you guys. Then after you get that, you could go ahead and kind of just place yourself where you want to. So for the first scene, let's see what we can do. We'll do something like this. I'm a little bit lower, but we'll kind of just do something like this. Maybe me thinking off into the sky. You know, hold your clip for, however long you want, 5-10 seconds. The next clip, we could do something like this, maybe rubbing my hands together. And when you're filming this, you want to also make sure you're not overlapping each other. Not saying you can't, but especially if you're doing a lot of movement, it's going to make it hard to mask it. You go ahead and do one more, maybe me post it up on the wall right here. I'm just chilling, thinking off into the distance. I'm gonna hop in Final Cut and I'm gonna show you guys how to put this all together. So now that you're in your software system, you're gonna first take your scene that you didn't have yourself in first. And that scene for us is gonna be right here. And what I like to do is slow this down. There's no movement in it regardless. So I like to slow it down because I never know how long I'm going to make these clips. So that's just something I like to do off preference. Obviously, you could record longer of no one being in your scene, but I feel like this works just as well too. So now that we're talking, let's go ahead and zoom to our first clip that we had. And we got this. Okay, we're going to cut that. Set it aside, bring it over here. Let's grab our next scene where we move. We're sitting on the bed. And we have this. Good, drag it. There we go. And we can grab our last one, which we're on the wall right here. Which we don't want the blinds moving. That's gonna mess up our mask a little bit, but we're perfectly on the wall right here. So we can chop it up right there. And let's go ahead, and the first thing we're gonna do is go into our tools. And we're gonna want to type in mask. We're gonna get a draw mask, and we could just draw around it, around our subject. Doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to actually mask exactly to the area. We might have to fix it a little bit later, but that's how it's gonna look so far. You see, okay, so you see how the covers, right? You see how I laid on the back so the covers are off. So we're gonna keep going with it, but that's the perfect example how you kind of want everything to be the same, or it's going to mess things up. Because you see, if I pull this over, how the cover's like this, and when I'm laying on the cover's like that. But we should be able to get around that. That's just going to make it a little bit harder on our job. But if I didn't have the covers there, it would have matched perfectly. But let's go ahead and move on to our next clip. We're gonna come back to that, because we still got some more clips we gotta lay out. So there might be a few more problems we have to work with. So there goes that. You see how it's still kind of off with the covers. We're gonna go ahead and fix that in a second. We're gonna find something to make it match the most. Or we might just have to refilm it. There's actually a really good example how everything's not the same. Remember how I told you the lighting's off or anything like that? In that sense, it's gonna mess up your whole mask. So you see, for example, this looks great. This looks perfect. The only thing that's throwing it off is the covers. So we'll do like a it doesn't have to be long. We'll do a 3-second long version. And what we're gonna do to fix that is let's see what we have the most of. So this is kind of a little different, but it matches a little bit. This we don't have to worry about too much on the covers. So that's how the covers are for there. So let's see, let's move this over. Let's bring this one over. Yeah, that one looks a lot better. Now the only thing that's a little bit off is where I'm sitting on. So let's try and fix that one. See if we get lucky enough. See if we pull it over too much, it's gonna be like that. So we're gonna zoom into this. And the best way, honestly, to fix this is probably adding a little bit, like getting a little bit accurate of masking at each point. That's probably going to be the best way to do it. Let's get a little bit closer to my body so it's like you won't even know that's really off. So we go. Okay, I didn't really move that much, so that's good. So now that you look at it, it's like that. I'm kind of glad the covers were like that, because it was able for me to show you a real example if something changes, how your mask might not work. But that's really the basics of how you mask it. The only next steps we would really have to do right now is just color it. Let's go ahead and throw an adjustment layer on top of there. We're gonna go to our custom LUT. I have some LUT converters to turn it into Rec 709 to get it out that log. We could do North, and that's how it looks. And what I personally like to do is we can actually use the same overlay. But what I like to do, because right now it kind of looks a little boring, just being like that. Unless you like it like that, you know what I mean? But what I like to do is I like to add a keyframe. I like to scale it up. And we're going to put another keyframe right here. We're going to scale it back down to what it originally was. And it's going to look like that. That's personally what I like to do with my clips. It adds a little bit movement into it. It just flows nice. But that's our first video from this series on Tutorial Fridays. But that's going to end our video, guys. If there's anything else you want me to go over, even if I don't know how to do it, I'll learn it for you guys to teach you guys how to do it. But every Friday we're going to be doing a new tutorial video, so stay tuned for that. I'm really excited about this series. I get to show off my filmmaking skills.